Hey, you're listening to another episode of Joey's World. This is the show where comedian me, Joey Rinaldi, interviews comedians that I'm friends with. And for my first guest ever, I'm having a comedian who's from West Virginia. He was a baseball scout. He's a Dean Martin impressionist, and he's a good friend of the show. Everybody, welcome my good friend, Franklin Miller. Welcome to the show, buddy.
I can't believe, I get fired from my own show. It's a fantastic show. It's a growing show, and they give it to this dope. They give it to this clown. He
Oh,
takes over my show.
no, I'm just fucking around. This is Franklin's world or Franco's world. I can't even front. This is your show. But the thing is, I've been on this show like 3 times. Like, I can't like come on this show and like pretend like I have more stuff to talk about. Like, we've talked about it all, I feel like.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be like, okay, what weird baseball game are they going to talk about for an hour and a half this time?
I mean, if you want to talk about the 2007, not the 2007, the 2004 Game 7 pennant between the Red Sox and Yankees, I can talk about that all day. I have that on DVD and I watch it when I'm having a sick day.
Oh my gosh, I actually wholeheartedly believe you do that. Like that's not a bit. You actually do that.
Dude, my brother thinks I'm so weird because he always walks in on me watching like 2008 Sun Spurs like playoff games. He goes, "This game happened like over 10 years ago. What's going on?"
I'll watch old West Virginia football games to make myself feel
Oh
alive
wait,
again.
oh my God! Let's not go down the West Virginia football path again because I can talk forever about that.
Okay, sounds good.
And if anybody's confused who hasn't listened to a previous episode that I've been on, I'm comedian Joey Rinaldi. I have my own podcast called Trailer Trasher where I make fun of movie trailers. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, I want to interview Franklin because Franklin is always interviewing comics. And I feel like I've listened to the show, big fan of the show. And I feel like we don't really know, like, everything we need to know about you. And I think your listeners, as a listener of the show, I think I can speak for all listeners of this show that they want to know more about you.
Yeah.
So let's just chop right into it. You're from West Virginia. Were you born there?
Born there, raised there. Lived in a couple of different spots in Pennsylvania, but I mean, really, I'm just like West Virginia through and through. It's wild, bro. Growing up in the country, my next door neighbor's a quarter mile away. Didn't really have a lot of people, a lot of kids my age to play around with, so I was confined to my own. My own room and just sat in there and wrote stuff and watched TV, and that's essentially it. Like my parents just stuck me in front of a television.
So what town are you from?
I'm from a place called Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's
How far is that from the campus?
from West Virginia University. It's like an hour 45. But Parkersburg is most notorious for drinking poisonous water for a couple decades. DuPont was dumping chemicals in our water. I got a bunch of money from the government when I was a kid.
So you're like the OG Flint. Like when Flint
Yeah.
became popular, you were like, "Oh, I've been there, done that."
Yeah, like that's what people don't understand. It's like people's farms died. A lot of people got cancer. It was weird.
So you're living in this town an hour away from like anything. You don't really have too many neighbors. What do your parents do for a living?
My dad was a key account manager for Pepsi. There's a Pepsi branch here, and he also did pastor stuff like for fun. But then he had the ability to do pastor stuff all the time, so he did that. And then my mom is his assistant, but she's just had various stuff. She just likes to do it for fun now.
No, no. When you say your dad's a pastor, like what church is he connected to? Like, is that like?
He I don't want to like completely out their employers or everything, but he works for like the entire convention, like the Baptist Church is a whole entity in West Virginia, and he's like one of the people associated with that, and he runs like a department of that. And then like he'll just go and preach in random spots in the state for the heck of it, for fun. Like he just likes to do that.
And did you grow up with siblings, or you're an only child?
No, I have one sister. She's like 29. She lives in Madrid. She's got a great life. I'm jealous.
And how old are you? You're 25.
24.
So your sister is like 5 years older than you.
It goes 5 and 4. It's like one of those. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 4 years.
And were you guys close growing up? You and your sister?
No, we fought a lot, but then my sister had a really crazy experience where she had a child at like age 16. It was a very traumatic experience for me to have to like grow up with essentially
Yeah. So you're like 11 years old having a fucking nephew to take care of or niece.
essentially, I was like 11 years old having to take care of another child. But she did great. They made the most of that situation, and I'm
Did
trying.
you become closer with her because of this process?
Yeah, that like after that, like we used to like fight and bicker, and then after that, essentially, it just like all stopped. Like one day, it just like stopped. We just never argued over it, like over anything dumb. Like we just, I don't know, we just became really cool friends, and now like we text all the time and we joke around a lot. She's been on the show, I think, twice. Like she was always a performer and everything, so she's easy to talk to.
But by performing, what do you mean? She was like doing like local theater or like in the school
Yeah,
plays?
she did like how like those.
What's the West Virginia theater scene like? That's what everyone really
Well,
wants to
there's
know right
Theater West
now.
Virginia, and that's a big outdoor venue in the southern part of the state. But then she did like these off Broadway plays where they'd have like
In New
theater.
York?
No, off. Like it'd be the tour of the tour. Like these
Oh
people,
yeah.
these people were doing Oliver. Like they were like doing the tour of Oliver, but of their own version. So that's like what
Hey,
it.
I have a brother from the theater world, and don't like make fun of that. Like my brother, like he was slaving to get on that tour, and so like that means your sister fucking has chops to even get involved in that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, she was super talented, and we would drive to like Pittsburgh and stuff for auditions, and oh my god, I
So
can't tell you
so
how many.
so
Go ahead.
so I'm seeing you. You're a young Franklin. You're watching your sister perform. Are you watching your dad perform sermons at church too?
Every I was very fortunate. I got a front row seat. At the time, I hated it that I wasn't allowed to play with my toys. I was forced to go to church every day if possible. But now looking back on it, I got to watch my dad do an hour of material every week, and it's all new stuff. You know what I mean?
Wait, it was new stuff every time.
Yeah.
You never saw him phone it in and like tell like a dumb joke from the week before.
I'm sure he's phoned it in and he's called stuff back, but like he's a really good speaker, man. He's been asked to do a lot of wild
So
events.
so you're traveling around the South and like Middle America, so your sister can do auditions on Sundays. You're seeing your dad perform, and when being around these two vibrant personalities, people involved in the theater world. How did you take that? And at any point were you like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be a performer as well," or were you not even thinking like that?
I just like when I was a little kid, all I cared about was like baseball, but I really enjoyed making people laugh, and I always wanted to help people. I know that's arrogant to think that like me, a jokester, could help someone, but it took me a while to figure out what that method would be. And when I figured out, like, oh, it's doing comedy. So the greatest thing I ever got was like it was a whole like, not to go back to the religion thing, but it was a come to Jesus moment when I turned like 13 or 14, and I got like, I finally, because I had a TV in my room, but it was just a rabbit ear television. I only got like 3 channels, and I put tinfoil on the rabbit ears so I could watch Saturday Night Live on the weekends. But then when I got an actual TV in my room that had more than 2 channels, and I got Comedy Central, and I just left it on there and would watch stand up all day, and like so I don't want to get like, out my family here, but when my parents and my sister are screaming at each other about the whole pregnancy thing that's going on, and it feels like my outside world is going bananas, and obviously I'm not paying attention in school because all I care about is joking with my friends. I can shut myself in my room and turn on stand up, and it's just like, this is, oh okay, and then it's like, this is it.
So what age was that? Like 11, 12?
Like 11, 12, 13. Yeah.
And who was it the first comic that you saw and you were like, oh, I gotta watch this?
Honestly, it's hard for me to like actually. I think it was Patrice O'Neal's "Elephant in the Room" special. Honestly, I think that's.
And so how'd that come about? Like you were just on like
I know there's.
Comedy
I
Central,
know
and
it
it
was.
just it like after like some like airing of some like let's say like I remember like How High would be on a lot. So like you're just watching How High, the ending credits roll, and then all of a sudden they just start into a stand up special. You know what I'm
I
talking
feel
about?
like Balls
It
of
was,
Fury. Balls of Fury was on TV every week, but
But you know that feeling you have when like Balls of Fury's credits is happening, and then like they just, like fast forward through the credits to quickly put on something new, and whenever it's a stand-up special, it's almost like who's this guy about to invade my TV for the next hour? You know, like,
yeah,
do you know that feeling, or is that
yeah.
just to me?
No,
Like,
that's
cause
absolutely right, bro. It's like 2008, 2009, and I'm watching Daniel Tosh's stand-up special, and I'm like, this guy is the funniest person to walk the face of the earth. You know what I mean?
And so, what did the Tree special like do for you? What was it? Just something that made you realize, oh, this is funny. This is a good place to like get away from my life,
Well,
or was it
it
or was
made
it
me
inspiring?
it made me laugh, and like that's really like the barometer as to like, oh, how good is it and how like bad is it? It's like, does it make me laugh? Okay, then that's it. Then that's good. So I would watch these specials, and I hate to say this, but like I was 13 years old, and this is so a lot of kids and like growing up, if they would play along to records like I was telling you I was doing, I was playing music along with records before technology came out. But for me, my version of that was I was writing their jokes on paper and editing them and then giving them to my parents and making it seem like I was writing these elaborate Kevin Hart, Patrice O'Neill, Bill
No,
Burr.
dude, I want to roast you so badly, but that's how I got into stand up. Like I would go to my family
I was like
barbecues.
12 years old, Joey. How are you gonna roast me?
No, 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 no. I'm saying like that sounds hilarious, but I did the same thing. I would go to family barbecues and just do like a full on 15-minute Chappelle monologue, and people would be like, "This guy's a genius."
Oh my god, yeah. But the thing is like my mom would never laugh. She'd be like, "Okay, I don't get it."
You let know like your mom didn't find you funny. Did your sister or dad find you funny?
No, I never really shared it with them. You know what I mean?
Well, why do you feel comfortable sharing to your mom? Like what's your relationship with your mom like that you
We're
feel
tight.
so?
We're like we're best friends, and I feel
That's
sorry
adorable.
for any girl that I date because she's not gonna be good enough for my
Ha!
mom.
So did you feel like you had like this connection with your mom because your dad and your sister were like the performers and is that what bonded you and your
Yeah,
mom like doing that?
my mom was an athlete. She played college basketball, so she coached my basketball team. She coached my baseball teams, and like that's what we would do. We would watch baseball together. Like that was our thing. So
What's your team being from West Virginia?
well, growing when I was a little kid, I liked the Braves, and then my sister moved to Pittsburgh in like 2011, maybe 12. So then I started watching them, and now I just like after I got that job in baseball, now I just watch whoever. I like the Mets. I think the Mets have been like my team I've been following for a couple years.
So we're gonna clearly get a lot of comedy conversation in because we're both comics. So I just want to stop talking about comedy for a little bit, and I want to talk about baseball for a second. Like, were you good at baseball?
Yeah, I was pretty all right. Yeah.
What was your first team? Do you know the name of your first team you played
The first
for?
team I played on was Noble Roman's Pizza. It was a gas station pizza chain.
Oh man, dude, I just went into comedy in Tennessee, and so I like know what you're talking about now. If you told me like a month ago there was a gas station pizza place, I'd be like, that makes no sense because in Connecticut, where I'm from, it's like you have a pizza place, you have a gas station, and they're not connected ever. But when I was
Right.
driving through Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, it was like you go to a gas station, and it goes, well, this is the gas station, but it's also Big Shirley's fried chicken, and in the corner over there, that's Wayne's homemade liquor, and I'm like, what? Homemade what? Liquor?
Yeah, they
Is
make
this
it in the
legal?
bathtub. It's good.
Is this street legal? I mean, and he goes, no, it's not really legal. Just don't tell anybody where you got it from. Like,
Cops are walking in and
so
out of there. Oh yeah, it's a thing.
yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, we bought it. We used it for my bachelor party last week. So yeah, it was this whole. I know now what you're talking about gas station pizza, gas station anything,
Yeah.
because that's not a thing where I'm from.
No,
You just go to the gas station to get gas, maybe a soda bottle. That's it.
the gas station pizza had really good breadsticks because the cheese had like jalapenos and it was like hot cheese. It was so good.
So how old were you when you're on the gas station baseball team?
Oh, whenever you are when you first start playing, like 6. I don't know, 5, 6.
Was the coach pitching at this time, or the
Yeah,
kids pitching?
this was coach pitch. Yeah.
And when did you like realize that like, oh, this is like, I'm not just like doing it, I understand what I'm doing.
I
When did it click?
So as far as like my baseball IQ goes, I don't want to sound braggadocious, but my coaches would even tell me this. Mr. Simon, he coached us until we were like 14 or whatever. That's like when I stopped playing baseball and started getting into comedy. But I he would tell me like I knew the game better than anyone, and he would always ask like situational questions or strategy questions, and I'd be like answering them. I'd be like 8 years old and be like, well, actually, we want to do this because he's going this way, that. So like as far as like my baseball IQ goes, like I think I always knew the game more than the average bear.
So what position would you play? I know like growing up that you move positions
Yeah.
year to year,
Well,
but
I
like
never got to play first base, or I'll tell you, or
because
catcher.
you But you're like a big guy. You're like 6'4", aren't
But I'm
you?
fast. That's the thing.
So you never needed to be. So where do you play? Where does a 6'4" guy play baseball? I don't even know. Like
Left
left
field,
field?
center field.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like you have to
Honestly,
be.
but whenever I was like, I didn't get my growth spurt till I was like 16 years old, so I was short, and so I would play like second and short in left field. That's mostly where I played.
Second and short, those are the most. So second, short, and center field, those are the most fun positions. You were playing all three.
Yeah, sometimes I play left. I really like second base a lot though. Like second base is where I played like when I got into intramurals in college and stuff like that. I liked second base because
I don't.
I don't have a strong arm.
Yeah, so second base was my favorite position to play as well. But I actually had a cannon for a while in like middle school, so they'd always put me at third base. And dude, I don't know about you. Have you ever done the third base thing? It's
Have I
scary.
done the third base thing? Yes, Joey. Have you
Yo,
done the thing called third base? Yeah.
I don't know. No, not a blowjob. No,
No, Joey, I'm
blowjobs.
talking about actual third base. I'm talking about
Blow.
yeah. I
I
was a
want.
baseball scout. You don't think I've played third
I
base?
want. I want to go on the record. I'm not afraid of blowjobs, but playing third base, I'm so afraid of. That is the scariest position of all time,
Yeah,
out
the
of
hot
any
corner.
sport. Any sport. So you were playing second base, and what year were you like your peak? Like did you have like a year where you were just the best player on the team, MVP?
I don't know about MVP, but I made a few all-star teams and stuff like that.
You made the local All Star teams,
Yeah, like all the time. Yeah.
and did you ever? So are these the teams that get to travel like around the country to
My
play?
team wasn't involved with Little League. They were involved. I don't know what entity they were involved with, but there was a Little League team, like a team that was affiliated with Little League World Series in my hometown, and they had a field with grass, and they got to play under the lights, and we would go there and kick their teeth in.
What do you mean they had a field with grass? Did your field just have like dirt and soda cans? What are we
Yeah, it was
talking
dirt.
about?
Yeah, it was a dirt field.
What? Fully dirt, no
No, the
grass?
outfield was grass, but the whole infield was dirt. It's like a softball field.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're playing baseball, and you said at 14 is when you stop playing baseball?
Yeah, and then I think
Why?
because tennis and baseball are in the same season, I was a better tennis player than I was a baseball player.
You're a ten. I've talked to you so much since the pandemic started. For anyone who doesn't know this, I've never met Franklin in person.
No.
We're strictly a long distance.
We were a long distance relationship. We were on the phone till 2 a.m. last night working on jokes.
I know. I feel like I'm in Groundhog's Day right now. And that's so we were up till 3 a.m. last night writing jokes, and then I tweeted at 9 a.m. And before the tweet could even hit send, I got a text from Franklin being like, "Oh yeah, dude, 9 a.m. is a bad time to tweet. I can't believe you fucked this up."
Trying to help.
So you literally were the last person I talked before I went to bed, first person to text me in the morning, and now I'm like, now we're fucking back at it right now.
I love it, brother. I love it.
I can't wait till you find out I've been like catfishing you, and I'm not actually Joey Rinaldi.
That'd be
I'm
wild,
like,
bro, if you were
I'm
a
like,
fake person.
I'm Teoing you.
That'd be wild if you had a voice changer. You were just Claire with a voice changer.
Yeah, this is actually Claire. Oh my god, I was with Claire the other night. Claire's doing well.
That's awesome. But yeah, tennis, bro. I was a good tennis player. Won
Were
county.
you ranked, dog? Were you ranked?
No, I wasn't ranked. I won a county championship in middle school, which isn't worth anything. And then when I got to high school, I won a conference title. And at the time, it was the biggest conference in the United States.
And what have you learned from like being a tennis player and a baseball player? Do you feel like any of that has translated to your work ethic as a comic?
No, but it makes me like I never was like lifting extra weight. I played soccer and football too, if you want to talk about all my sports, but I was never
No,
like
soccer and football, we don't care.
I was never like lifting extra weights. I was never running really hard. I was just doing the bare minimum to get by and going by on like natural ability. But I loved being around the team aspect. I was always like a team guy. People always like had me like lead the team talks and stuff like that. I love talking to my teammates, and I think like the ability to grasp an audience was always a goal.
So I think it's fascinating that you're a tennis player because I feel like team sports, for instance, have like a more clear cut thing to them. The way like almost I would say like even like theater has to it because I feel like if you're somebody trying to get into theater, it's like baseball. Like you just try out for the team. Theater, you try out for the play. But I feel like in comedy, you don't really know what to do. Like I get asked all the time, like, since like there's nothing to like really try out for in comedy, how do you even get on your first like open mic? How do you perform your first show?
Yeah.
And I feel like tennis is kind of has that same daunting to it. Like like if I want to get competitive about tennis, I don't fucking like know what channels. Like I'm thinking back to like me being like 10 years old. I wouldn't know what avenues to go down.
I didn't watch tennis on TV. I think tennis on TV is kind of boring. I like to watch the U.S. Open though.
So I'm saying like did you feel like the way it was to get into tennis was similar to getting into comedy in the sense that it was all you all alone?
No, I honestly, because I was so like
I'm trying hard to make connections here.
I was so focused on like the team because it is a tennis team. Like when you're playing,
there is a tennis team.
Yeah, it's a tennis team. Like in high school and stuff like that, it is a team. Like you are trying to like win a match to get a.
I'm so stupid. I didn't know that.
Team. Well, I mean, it's college tennis is the same way, but I mean, like, yeah, at the end of the day, it is just you versus the other guy. But I would beat these people, and it would get to a point like my mom would get so mad at me. This is documented. I can go on record. I would give up points to people or like give up a game to somebody because like I wanted them to also have fun while we were playing the game. I didn't want to like beat somebody 8-0 instantly out of the gate because I just felt like that would make them hate the game and I didn't want that. I was such a softie. Never had that killer mentality.
That is incredible. So you say that's not a killer mentality, but I think that's like a better mentality to like live life. Like that shows that you have a lot of empathy and you actually enjoy playing tennis. Like I feel like there's so many athletes out there that like are so into like winning that it's like not even fun for them at some point.
That's the problem I had with soccer. I would play on these travel teams and stuff like that, and we'd go over the East Coast and like these kids, like that's when I knew like that sport wasn't for me. So I was like a junior in high school and that was my main sport, and it's like, do I want to play in college or not? And then like all these kids are literally trying to kill you, and I'm like, you know what, they can have that. I'm cool with just like I didn't even end up playing on the travel team my senior year. I was like, I'm not going to college to play soccer. Somebody else can have my spot. They want it more. They want to enjoy it.
I think that's why we're such good friends, because I'm a basketball player and I played travel basketball for one season in 6th grade. And you're right, it was all these people who have this killer instinct, and I'm like, but what about like being friends? You guys want to like hang out after and like
being friends? Yeah.
Yeah, like you guys want to like play 2K later, and they're like, nah, like I'm trying to like practice and like so you don't take my spot. I'm like, oh okay, like I'm sorry, like
yeah,
I didn't know your spot was up for grabs. Like I don't know.
I thought it was a team effort here. I was like we were all working for one common goal. I didn't know there was animosity between us.
Yeah, I thought this game you'll take over, the next game you'll let me take over. They like travel basketball got so competitive that there was this one kid, Henry, who I remember he was like the best kid on the team, but I remember the coach didn't like him, and so he wouldn't get playing time, even though he was by far, in my opinion, the best player on the team. So when Henry would go in, he wouldn't even allow himself to pass the ball or like look at other teammates because he's like, fuck, the coach hates me so much, like I have to like do everything in my power to score just to show the coach that he's wrong about me. Mm-hmm. And that's such a wild mentality where like you can't even trust your own teammates to pass to them because they're fucking like their dads are talking behind your back being like, my son's better, don't fucking play that asshole kid Henry.
That's wild, bro. I want to get to a point where I can coach like a little league baseball team, not too little, but like old enough to where they understand the game, but I will not deal with the dads. I will not deal with the parents. I'm there, like, yeah. I want the kids to like
you don't
have
want to grab
fun.
You don't want to grab a beer with them after, dude, and hear why their son should be getting more playing time. Man?
Negative. We're gonna. You know what? We're gonna have a boys only breakfast. It's gonna be a players only meeting, and we're gonna say, hey, kids, you guys got to tell your dads, lay off me, okay?
Well, honestly, these dads should listen to you because you actually work professionally in baseball.
It stays in the clubhouse, dads.
And how did you get involved in working for professional baseball? Because like I have friends who want to do that. My brother actually worked for the MLB for a little bit, and it's not easy. So what happened to make this tennis playing, baseball loving, comedy loving, fucking reverend son person or pastor son get involved in fucking being a baseball scout? I don't even know how it happened.
I'll tell you one thing. I lied. I cheated. And that's how, I lied and I cheated. That's how I got the job in professional baseball. I lied and cheated.
Oh, just like Barry Bonds, the greatest baseball player of my lifetime, probably.
Exactly. No, I mean, like I knew a lot about the game and I always watched it. And one summer in college, I worked for a radio corporation, and one of the perks of the gig was getting to work on the broadcast of Pittsburgh Pirates games. So I'd get to go to PNC Park and be around the stadium on like game day, and I was like, I really like this atmosphere. And then a job came along when I was about to graduate college, and it was like baseball, like a video scouting for baseball. And I was like, this is cool. It's an agency, it's its own thing. It seemed reputable. And I looked and saw like what some of the guys who worked there went on to do, and like the GM of the Tampa Bay Rays worked there, and like a whole bunch of guys who make big decisions for big league clubs work there. And I applied, and I guess it was an okay application, and then they sent me a test where I had to go through all these play scenarios and talk about what's going on in the scenario. Then here's where I cheated. They sent me a list of 100 pitches, and I had to watch 100 pitches, 100 different guys, variations, left, right, all this. And I had to say where it was, the location, and what it was, like what type of pitch. And so what I did, because like I had lacked in watching a lot of baseball that year because I didn't know what everyone's repertoire was, I looked up their pitch list as I was looking at their video, and I was like, okay, so this guy throws that, so it has to be that. And so I probably look like a genius, but really I just like cheated and said like, well, that guy can't throw a curveball, he throws a slider. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, I think scouts get that information
Yeah, so it's not like
normally.
really cheating, but like I'm sure it was
That
probably
that
frowned
that
upon.
reminds me of something of I had a chemistry teacher sophomore year of high school that made every test open note,
Huh.
and I was like, why? I remember I asked him, I was like, why are you doing that? And he goes, I worked in like labs for NASA. I worked in labs for blah. Like he very impressive dude. And he goes, I didn't memorize shit to do any of that. I had my notebook out the whole time when I was like fucking. I think he like, made like a sniper rifle for the
Jesus.
fucking army or something. He goes, yeah, I don't memorize any of that shit. It was all fucking note taken. So you guys should be able to have notes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like baseball scouts have notes and shit.
Oh yeah, a lot of
Don't get me
notes.
wrong. A good guy shouldn't be able to identify a knuckleball.
Yeah. There's a lot of notes. And then I get to the job there and do the job there, and it was a whole thing. It was fun though. I have a lot of friends still in the game, so if your brother needs some connections, let me know.
Oh, my brother, he's doing pretty fine right now. Shout out to Frank. He's also a Frank.
Oh heck yeah, bro, that's awesome.
Yeah, Frank and Frank. You guys got to meet.
I'm down to clown.
Down to clown, always. And so, why aren't you still in baseball? Why the change to
I think we
like?
talked about this, and it's just because like
I,
I was
I don't know if your listeners have heard you talk
they
about it
definitely know the
though.
story where I was still like, so I had been doing comedy since I was like 20 and 20. It was right before my 21st birthday, so I was 20 years old, and like I thought like, man, I got this job in Allentown. That's close to Philly. That's closer to New York. I'll have so much time to drive down and hit mics, and like it'll be great. It'll be a perfect start on my regular career, but then also grow my comedy career. And then I get the job, and I'm like, I have zero time to drive to Philly and do 5 minutes and then drive back. So when I had that job and I started doing the podcast, I was like, okay, the podcasts are now my reps, and like eventually I will be able to get back to hitting the mics every night. You know what I mean? So I just like now
Totally.
it's just like trying to find a gig where I can hit mics every day.
So you were doing comedy before you got the baseball gig. I didn't realize that. I thought like the baseball gig led to you doing comedy. So
No,
let's
and so
backtrack.
You're
So
like,
so so
what?
so let's
Wow, this
quickly
guy's been in it for 3 years and he sucks. Yeah.
so let's quickly backtrack. You were going to West Virginia, well, and you were dorming there. You weren't like commuting, right?
Yeah. No, I lived there. I lived by myself. Sophomore through senior year. Freshman year, I had
Oh,
freshman year. I was really depressed and bummed out and didn't leave my dorm and lost a lot of weight. And all I did was just watch Bill Burr specials.
wow. So you started doing comedy the next year then?
Yeah, the next year.
And before we get there, why were you so bummed out? What was happening in college that made you not want to ever leave your dorm and watch Bill
I just
Burr?
no, I think. Well, I was watching a lot of films too, and then my first thought was like, maybe I want to work in background on like a movie, and I think that'd be fun. And I realized I don't want to do that at all. But
No, background's brutal.
I don't know what it was. I think it wasn't necessarily the adjustment of being away from home. I loved having my own space to do stuff, and it got so much better after I had my own apartment. So maybe it was just being in the dorm that kind of like sucked.
But like, what happened? Was college not what you thought it was going to be? Were you not making
I
friends?
think yeah, like So
It's a daunting school. It's like how many people go there? Like 100,000 or something. I
well,
don't
get
know.
this, Joey. I thought college was going to be this grand experience where I'm going out and meeting people and trying new stuff. And, I have a baby face, so I look like I'm 14 years old walking through
Yeah,
campus.
you have a punchable baby face. If I don't say so myself.
Thanks. But,
I fumbled on my words because I was trying to say it the nicest way possible. I was like, no, there's no nice way to say that. I want to punch you in the face.
but, they, there was 13 kids on my floor alone that went to my high school. So it's hard to make friends and try new things when you're surrounded by your hometown.
Wait, really? Like that many people like you knew were at your school?
Yeah, 13 kids from my high school lived on my floor freshman year of college.
Oh man, dude. And like were they even people you fucked with?
Yes, I'd say like 6 of them I hung out with, and 3 of them were my roommates. So like, I chose those guys.
So yeah, you chose them, but it wasn't conducive for you to like starting like a new life or like opening up a new side of your personality, kind of. Because I
Correct.
feel like that
And
was a
then when I
big part.
lived by myself and I got to be in my own, thoughts all day, and I started writing comedy and I was just in my little world, that was great.
So at what point were you like talking about doing comedy and realized I have to stop talking and start doing it? Like was that sophomore year?
Yeah, I'd say so. And then like I would write a ton of jokes. I would just never perform them. And then I would, just be an absolute sponge anytime a comedian was on, just talking in an interview. And so I heard Seinfeld say he started when he was 21, and I'm like, oh, well, I have to start before Seinfeld, So I started when I was 20.
So what was your first joke that you wrote that you were like, oh, I'm doing it?
The first joke I ever wrote that you can't say, looking back on it, I can't say killed. At the time, I thought it killed, but
Dude, you're talking to me. I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now, and I still have jokes that I write that are fucking awful.
right.
So lay it on me, sister.
Well, it's a whole story. It's a joke about playing Call of Duty and getting too emotionally attached to the characters and getting upset when they die, but I can't play it because I get seasick because of the blood, and then it becomes a whole thing, and Tom Hanks is involved, and then it's a scene where some guy from Brooklyn has a pizza shop, and I talk about how I need to save him, and then no, I'm forced to move on. And then, like in the history books, they don't tell you this, but there's infinite ammo if you turn around the corner, all that stuff. So it's a whole joke about Call of Duty.
That's hilarious. This infinite ammo if you turn the corner. That's great.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like one of the first jokes. This joke I wrote like on Facebook when I was like 13 or 14, way before I ever thought I was actually gonna do comedy. But I wrote this joke on Facebook that like made people laugh in high school, where I was like, just got crabs. Good news, I can get rid of them. Bad news is I already named them, so now I don't want to get rid of them.
That's good.
Yeah, and that's kind of like your whole. I feel like could that work as a tweet, or is that like hack at this point? I feel like somebody else has probably done that already.
I don't know. I don't want to go inside the Jokester studio in this one because I don't want to. We'd be on here for evidence. Last night we were on the phone until 3 in the morning working on one tweet.
Dude, I sent you like 11 drafts of one tweet.
It was good though.
Is it funnier if I say crabs or herpes? I don't like. It's just too much.
Which one's funnier?
Yeah. And should I say I have it, or should I say my sister gave it to me? What's funnier? I don't know. None of that's doable. That's awful. All of it. But so you had this Call of Duty joke, and where's the open mic? Was it an open mic or was it a show? How did you get on stage?
Open mic, and here's how sadistic.
Where was it?
Okay, I'll tell you the whole story about this open mic.
So lay it on me.
I was 20 years old, and I had been lying to my friends, essentially what you did, and told them I was a comedian before I was a comedian, because I had heard, don't tell people it's your first time, because it'll give them sympathy, and people will be like, oh, that was good for his first time. Like, I didn't want that at all. So I invited like 8 friends. It was a packed house. It was the biggest, it was honestly the most people I've ever seen in this venue, other than one other time. So it's a really good venue in my college town. A lot of good bands started out there, and I get up there and I just commit to it, and it kills, and these mostly girls are laughing, and I'm like, oh well, I guess girls just like my stuff, and that's it. But I don't know, man. I just lied to my friends, and I ended up doing really good. It was wild.
Dude, well, That's so amazing. I'm glad you actually had a good first experience, and because you're in the minority. I think I feel like most people have like awful first time performing.
But that's the thing, Joey. That's the thing. It's like I'm gonna be like now. It's like, oh, I started good, and now I suck.
Who knows that you suck? When was the last time you even got on stage?
It's been over a year. I think like last November of like November of like 2019 was the last time I got on. Well, I had that New
Well,
Year's gig,
well,
but
then that's the thing. You don't suck, my dude.
I
You
had the New Year's
fucking
gig. I
are.
had the New Year's
Yeah.
gig. It went well. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Where was that?
That was at that fancy hotel I was telling you about.
Oh yeah, the fancy hotel. So you done one show in like a year?
Yeah, essentially, other than the Zoom shows.
No, Zoom shows, that's a different muscle entirely.
Okay.
I feel like the Zoom show is like a fucking where podcasting and stand up comedy kind of meet. It's like a weird hybrid,
Hmm.
and it's not really, it's not the same muscle that you'd be using
I'm
as
with you.
stand up.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But so I don't think you should say ever that you're. This is one comic talking to another comic. I don't think you should say that you're getting worse or that it's got been downhill.
I'm
It
trying to
just
sound Joey,
it
I'm trying to sound humble, okay? I think I'm a
no.
good joke writer and I think I'm funny, but I'm trying to sound humble.
Well, no, but I'm actually trying to talk to you. Like I'm trying to open up to you, my man.
Okay.
It's not a you problem. It's a practice problem, and I think like I know shitty comics who fucking can kill because they fucking do 5 spots a night, and I know great comics who bomb because they're getting up once a month. And the thing is, doing well on a show isn't always the answer. Like doesn't always equate to good comedy. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that is good comedy. Well, I'm talking as if I'm like an expert. I'm not an expert. I've only been doing this 4 years, and
Well,
there's
you're
a lot of
further along
comedy.
the journey than I am.
There's probably a lot of New York comics who would hear this and be like, Joey, why is Joey saying this? He's an idiot. So, but so take this with a grain of
There's probably a lot of New York comics listening to this and be like, why does this kid only interview New York comics and he doesn't even live here?
yeah, probably. So back to my point though. Take this with a grain of salt. But what defines good comedy to me is not about if you kill or not kill. It's about or how much you get up or not get up. It's about having comfortability in your own voice. And when you get up there, people like you're making people laugh because of who you are and not you doing an impression of a comic that you think you should be doing
Oh yeah,
or like
I definitely was impersonating people when I first started.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, everyone falls in that trap. It fucking happens to everybody.
Who did you impersonate? Who did you impersonate?
All right, you want me to answer that question? It's really ugly.
No, it's fine.
Well, so Chappelle is like my first love all time comic. Like I grew up watching the Chappelle show, and so I went up there thinking that Chappelle was the way you were supposed to do comedy. So I would just get up there and I'd be like, "Yo, man, I got some fucked up shit to talk about." Like talking like really like my worst black impression of all time. And like comics would come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, jokes were written well, but don't talk like that." And
Joey,
like, and like specifically, like it was very specific. Chappelle, I would do it would be like Chappelle from the special, for what it's worth, like when he's like doing all like the Indian bit, you know, the Indian bit where he's like, where he's like,
oh, that's the special that started it all for me. Never mind. Killing them softly.
oh, Kill Them Softly. That was his first special, the HBO one.
Me and my dad watched that a lot. And the crackhead, the baby selling weed on the corner, that joke killed me.
Hey, baby. Yeah, so I would be doing the Chappelle tropes in my act. So like, so I would purposely write a bit where I had to say the word baby. So I'd be like, so I can just do the Chappelle. Hey, baby. You know
Oh
how
wow.
Chappelle,
Oh
and like,
wow.
or like, I would purposely be like, bring up a situation that I thought was fucked up. So I'd be like, it was fucked up. And like, you know, Chappelle like always says that, like, it's kind of fucked up though. But I asked him, what tribe are you from? And like, I would do like, I would find ways to do Chappelle's catchphrases because I thought that was comedy. I didn't realize that Chappelle was the only one doing Chappelle. I thought like everybody, I thought he also was stealing from somebody else that also was talking like that. I didn't know. I didn't know that like every comic would have their own unique voice, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Like that's what separates a good comic from a
Yeah.
bad comic, and like like there's great comics that you can find videos of bombing, and there's bad comics you can find videos of killing,
Fair.
and it's the thing that I keep telling people and telling myself is that comedy is like golf.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
And that like nobody, it's because in basketball, people can defend you and they can block your shot. In golf, nobody can actually block you from shooting. It's all mental. And so as long as you just keep trucking along, playing your game, you'll get better no matter what other people on the course are doing.
Exactly. No, I love that. I love that metaphor. It's great, or
I hope
simile.
I made sense. I
No,
don't
it
know.
makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, man. So you started doing comedy at 20. You're not 24. What who was like one of your like first like did like who's like your first person you met in comedy that was like, oh, okay, this guy's gonna tell me something not to do now? Like, did you have
Oh,
that?
dude, I would do that in college. I would interview comedians and tell them it was for like school projects, but really it was just an opportunity for me to pick their brain. So, not to like name drop, but the biggest one I got was Jared Freed, and he talked to me for like an
Whoa,
hour and a half when I was in. This is like a couple years ago, obviously, and he talked to me for like an hour and a half, and I might still have the recording somewhere. And I told him it was for a project, and I kind of did use it for a project, but mostly it was for my own like information. And he told me a bunch of stuff and he really helped me out, and it was a really cool full circle moment. And he was touring and he had a gig in Philly, and I went to the gig in Philly and I met him after the show, and I was like, you talked to me when I was in college. And he said he remembered. I don't know if he did or not, but there's a pictorial evidence of me and him saying what's up to each other at Punchline Philly. Good club.
dude, I'm telling you right now, that's not like uncommon. Like, why would he not remember that? Like, think about it. Comedians, they're a self-absorbed people. I'm not saying Jared Freed's self-absorbed, but I'm saying like the archetype of comics are self-absorbed and they love themselves. So anybody that's allowing them to talk about themselves, they're probably going to remember. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like Judd Apatow. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld never forgot Judd Apatow, and Judd Apatow interviewed him when he was like 11 years
Oh yeah,
old.
dude, I totally took a page out of Apatow's playbook where I was just like interviewing comics and stuff like that.
So who are there any other comics that like you interviewed that I would know?
I met one later. I met Steve Byrne later, comedian Steve Byrne. He's an incredible guy. He have you ever seen that documentary where he hits like, I don't know, maybe 13 spots in one night, or maybe it's 20 spots in one night? It's crazy.
Wait. You mean Aaron Berg?
No, no, no. Steve Byrne. He had the TBS show Sullivan and Son.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course. But oh, I thought you were talking about Aaron Berg because Aaron Berg just made he's like New York. Do you know Aaron Berg?
I don't think so. If I saw a
He's
picture of
a,
him, I might.
well, he's a New York comic. He does like podcasts like In Hot Water. He's also does Frantic at the Stand, and he has an Amazon movie out where he did like 25 spots in one night.
Yeah, then no, Steve Byrne did that like whenever ago. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, very cool. That's what I thought you were talking about. I've never seen the Steve Byrne one though. That's cool.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like I was in college, and it was him and Bill Burr sitting in like a round table with a couple other big time comics, and they were talking about like what it was like to be a comic and how fun it was. And I was like, man, like that's so cool. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be one of the guys. Like I wanted to crush, make people laugh, and be one of the guys.
So I want to know now. So what do your parents like think about your comedy? Like when you first started doing it to like now.
Oh, they've never said an ill word. They've always been supportive of me. I'm very fortunate to have supportive parents.
And like, has your dad ever given you any tips?
Yeah, we talk a lot about like what it's like maneuvering through troubled waters. Essentially, when you can tell the boat is rocking and the crowd is like not really feeling it, and it's just like, okay, how do we just find a port? How do we just end it? How do we land the plane?
You know what? I'm trying to navigate that right now in this interview because I'm doing this. I realize I've never really done a full on interview like this before, not for a while, and I can relate with that right now. I'm like, how do I get to the next topic I want to talk about?
We're talking about dating for the last 15 minutes.
I was about to bring that up. How did you know that?
That's why we're boys.
Oh my god! Because I was thinking like, how can I maneuver comedy, talking about your dad to dating, and you know what? I won't have a smooth segue. You said you do talk about dating. I want to hear about dating. I heard you're quarantined in West Virginia. You're afraid of all the COVID people out there.
Yeah.
So you're not searching for the putang.
No, I'm not a hound. I'm not out there
You're
dogging
not a
it.
dog. You're
I'm
not a
not a
dog.
dog.
I'm a sick puppy, so I can't relate.
Nah, man. And it's like I was always like this though. Like I would always just like shut myself off in my room and watch stand up and be like, okay, this is funny, and that's all I did growing up in high school. I did what kids do, it's nothing
So,
crazy, but
so let
like,
me ask the blunt question. When was the last time you got laid?
since Nom.
Ah, that's such a cop out answer. When was your last girlfriend?
My last girlfriend, I broke up with her in April.
Oh my god! So like right as quarantine was going down, you were like, "Bitch, I ain't trying to
Whoa,
be shit."
no, not like that. No, not that.
Yeah, I take out the bitch. But you were like, "Girl, I'm not trying to lock down with you right now."
It was a weird situation, That was like the first girl I ever really said like I love you to. I don't like to throw that
Ooh.
word around a lot.
You
It
said
was
it to
like
me last night. You sandbagging son of a bitch.
but no, man, it's just like one of those adult relationships where two people want different things. They both want each other, obviously, but they want different things. And so it's like, okay, well, I don't really foresee myself compromising. You don't foresee yourself compromising. It's best we get this out of the way now, as opposed to, we end up a couple years down the line and then somebody becomes bitter and angry with somebody.
What was the problem with the two of you? What didn't you guys? What didn't she like? What was the conflict?
I wanted to be a comic and she wanted to have a small town life and be married young and have kids younger and that type of stuff.
You made the right decision. That
I mean,
sounds
it's no ill
awful.
will to her, and maybe her ideas have changed, but it's like, she's a sweetheart, but we just want different stuff.
And so, since you broke things off with your ex girlfriend, you have not been on the dating apps. Have you been swiping?
I get on Tinder, but solely for validation and ego. That's the only reason I'm on there.
You're not trying to meet up.
No, like I flirt with them and maybe I set up maybe I set up a date and maybe the date gets canceled. Maybe
No, you're not one of those guys.
no, I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not. I'm
I'm
not.
so sorry. I got to cancel last minute.
I'm not
I
one of
don't. I
those
don't.
guys.
I don't normally do this, but I
Huh?
actually
I
had
really I really
my dog died.
a couple like a month and a half ago I put like my app like my podcast info on my bio, so like I'm trying to get some fans out of that. Like when
I've done
I
that before.
when I match with somebody on Tinder, like I'll like make a joke or say something intriguing or ask an intriguing question to open like to get an open conversation going, and then it's always like, hey, I always do this cop out. This move always works. Hey, I don't get on here a lot. What's your IG? And then they give me their IG, and I follow them. They follow me back, and now I get another follower on the internet. That's really my main goal.
You're an Instagram whore. That's what Instagram whore. That's the definition of an Instagram whore. You're out here shaking your body for dollar bills just to get Instagram followers. I'm sick of it.
Yeah,
You
man, I
got it.
have it's
These are girls. All right. I want to change the stigmatism.
it's an ego problem.
Wait, stigmatism. That's like an eye problem. I want to change the stigma against Tinder. Okay.
Stigmatism.
Because I think the problem is guys like you think girls on Tinder are like bad news bears, and girls on and there's other girls. I think guys on Tinder are just trying to have sex.
No, I
But
think I
but
think you guys are
listen.
looking for you're
I think there's a lot of men and women out there who are looking for a genuine connection,
yes.
and you are ruining for those people who are looking for like a normal connection. Is people like you are kind of ruining it
Okay,
by making it all about Instagram followers because like that ruins the soil. You know what I mean?
I just
So
don't want
they're
to be with somebody from my general area. Even when I was in high school, I was dating girls from Morgantown and Pittsburgh. Like I would not
why
date
are you
people
so elitist, dude?
because I wanted something different. I don't want to experience the same stuff that everybody else and it's no knock to them. I just want something different.
All right. So I'm from Greenwich, Connecticut, where
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like artsy fartsy, richy ditzy, like fucking country club Kennedys assholes, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want anything to do with them. And like I don't sound like I don't think I talk like a fucking like from Kennedy, Greenwich, Connecticut. I don't think like I even look like I'm like the preppiest guy alive.
Yeah.
Um, and because of that, I didn't want to associate myself with people from Greenwich. But you know what I realized? That in its inherently is kind of fucked up. That's as fucked up as being the douchebag from my hometown because by choosing to not associate yourself is a form of elitism and like a form of like separatism and
Well,
like
I definitely suffer from elitism then.
but what I'm saying is like you can totally like find people in your hometown. There's probably so many hot, cute girls in your hometown who feel the same way. Imagine you met a girl who lives like a mile away from you who's like,
No one
yeah,
lives a mile away from me. I live
all
in
right,
the
all
middle of
right, fine.
nowhere.
Fine. 5 miles away from you. Listen, you meet a girl 5 miles away from you, and she's also like, I hate being in the middle of nowhere. I think West Virginia isn't all that. I want to go to like Allentown, Pennsylvania, because that's cooler than West Virginia. You know what I mean? I don't
Allentown is
know.
great. I wanna.
But that's what I'm trying to
wanna
say.
move back there.
You don't think there's women in your area who think just like you?
They
Who
are.
are,
There are, Joey.
so
There
what's
are.
wrong with them? Why are you not? I feel like in
Because
order.
I've known them. Okay, no, my hometown is essentially a trap. No one leaves, so I know all these people. Does that make sense?
I don't think. I think if you open up and let love in, you'll realize that you are not as
All right,
unique as you
Pete
think you
Townsend.
are. No, I think you'll realize that you're not as unique as you think you are, which is a good thing. No, which I'm not knocking you. I think it's a good thing to realize that because I think you feel like you're so like different from these people. I think you'll find that you actually will have a lot of common in them, a
No,
lot in common with them.
we can share the same struggle. I think I do share a lot of similarities with people, but everyone thinks they're the most unique person in the world. But we're all alike.
Yeah, man.
Except
And
me, I'm very unique. I also have an ego problem, and I'm an elitist.
no, you're not elitist. I'm just throwing that word around because the way you're talking about the people in your town reminds me of the way like these asshole country club people talk about
I don't
the
hate. I think I love the
because
fact that everyone's from
the
here.
way you're talking about West Virginia a moment ago. It reminds me of the way the assholes in my country club would talk about West Virginia. They'd be like, "Oh, don't go to West Virginia." You know
I
what I
never
mean?
said anything bad about it. I just said like I wanted to date somebody from. I wanted to experience like a different lifestyle or something like that. I don't know. I wanted to experience like a different. Uh,
Then you can't complain about being single and
I'm
lonely
not
during
complaining about
quarantine.
being single. I like being single. I've been single essentially big portion of my life and I really like it. Yeah, I do what kids do and like mess around and stuff like that. But like like it's not a big deal to me. I'm now don't get me wrong, I'm great at
All right,
dating.
then maybe I misunderstand. I didn't mean to
I'm
attack
great
you.
at dating, Joey. I'm an elite dater. I will take you on elite dates.
I would love that. You promised when you come to New York City, you're going to take me out for the night of a town. I'm still waiting for that. I want to take you up on that offer.
I know you got a hard out here in a couple minutes, but here's a 1000%er great date idea that will make you look as smooth as butter. You want it?
Butter's my favorite, so lay it on me. Butter it on me.
Okay, Joey, pretend you are a tall, dark-haired, fit girl from maybe the Northeast, maybe I don't know where you're from, and
I'm a 5'10" volleyball player from New Jersey. Go.
that's honestly that sounds perfect. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
being dead serious. But
I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I have brunette hair.
even black hair is great with me. I
It's
like dark
no,
hair.
it's brunette, but it's wavy. But like I sometimes curl it to look different. You know.
Yeah. And you're fit too. You got to be fit because I'm
Of
fit.
course, I'm fit. I play for St. Joe's volleyball team in Philly, even though I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, I
That's my
thought you were gonna
life.
say you play for like Monmouth. Okay, or
No. I hate those girls. I played travel volleyball with them. I didn't fuck with them.
okay. So
I'm
here it is.
I'm in the character now.
Okay, here it is. Okay, I got to get my cool guy outfit on. Okay, hold on. So, what's like the worst possible date you could think of?
It's not like the scenario. It's the person. I think. I wanted a date with this girl that was fucking.
No. This is part of my line.
Oh, you're talking to cement the volleyball player.
No,
I'm
your
sorry.
name's like Colleen or something really northeastern.
Colleen, the volleyball player.
All right, Colleen Del Vecchio.
All right, so yeah, what are you asking me again?
So, what's the worst possible date you could think of, Colleen?
Going to a sports bar where you eat wings and watch basketball instead of really talking to me and asking about me.
Okay, so let's go to a sports bar and let's eat wings and let's talk.
I just said I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but if you can go to a spot like that you hate and have a good time with me, then I'm your guy.
You are literally the cheesiest guy. This is Joey talking. That is something. Franklin, you're my boy. I don't want to shit on you.
I'm joking.
But I remember being like 11 years old, 12 years old, thinking what dating would be like, and I remember writing lines like that, being like, I'm gonna fucking kill it. And then I tried those lines. I realized lines like that, no one actually wants that shit.
No, this one here's a quick blurb. I do really well with the artsy I hate men crowd. I've had a lot of success with that crowd. And whenever they say I hate men, I always say me too. That's why I only date women, and that line kills. So you can have that one, kids.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm sorry that I didn't get to the dating stuff sooner. I didn't mean to yell at you just now. I think I was throwing my own issues at you, and you didn't deserve any of that. But next time I come on, maybe we can just do a full hour on dating. Who knows?
That'd be fun.
But
I like talking about dating. I haven't really talked about that side of me on here. I don't know what people think about me in terms of the dating world, but I'm curious to see what they think.
well, I want to talk more about dating soon. Thank you so much for letting me take over your show. Thank you so much for letting me interview you and
Yep.
ask you about your life. And I really hope this is something that your listeners want, because as somebody who listens to your show, I've always wanted to know more about you. And I feel I'm very happy I got to get your little mini biography in the
Yep.
past
When
hour.
I was 13 or 14 years old, I looked at the TV and I looked at my yellow legal pads and I'm like, and I said, okay. And then I started writing and never stopped.
There it is. Brother, have a great day. And I'll be texting you later tonight with more Twitter
Yep.
drafts.
Remember to subscribe to the podcast Franco's World and Trailer Trashing. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Franco's World _. The show is growing rapidly. I don't know what happened, but make sure you get on the rocket ride before it takes off.